Hey guys, welcome to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. I'm here with my favorite photographer, the one that's done all the photos for my family. So if you're on my website and you see the picture of me throwing Callan into the air, it's because of Katie. She's done a great job. She's worked for us twice now. And guys, I totally highly recommend her if you need a photographer in the Dallas area, the Kansas City area. She comes back, she lives in Kansas City now, but comes back here often to do sessions. So this is super awesome, guys. I talked about her in an earlier episode, and it was in reference to the fact that she's a photographer, but has created multiple streams of income from that. So if you have a job in which to make more money, you have to work more hours or book more sessions, book more gigs. Let's say maybe you're a tutor and you tutor folks in piano or English, or maybe you bake cookies for people and you sell them, or maybe you build websites or do video editing or any type of editing like that. Guys, this is the episode for you. This is something where you're going to learn how to take something you're passionate about, something that you're good at, and turn it into more than just that one income stream. She went to Baylor. She married a football player. Jason works for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're 4-0. Congratulations. She gets to go to as many of the games as she possibly can. They have two twins that are almost 4, Sawyer and Lindley Kate, a boy and a girl. They're adorable. She has a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Baylor in 2008, started her business after going to Africa, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, promoting international adoption and mission. Super cool. We'll probably dig into that because I'm curious about that. So she's an Instagram influencer. She is a mom, owns a business, does home renovations. She does everything. She just built a playhouse on the back of her yard and did all the videos for that. Katie, you amaze me how you do it all. Well, guys, if you think you don't have enough time to build a business, then this episode will destroy those excuses. So Katie, thanks for joining me. I know your time is precious. How's it going? Thanks for coming on.
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I really feel honored to just be here.
Cool. And guys, what I'm excited about this, she lives in Kansas City now, but she's from Southlake where I live. And so folks, she'll have a lot of family and friends listening to this on the Dallas Fort Worth radio stations that we're on here. So Katie, I want to talk about your story. I love getting into people's stories, how they get started. Tell me about, you can start anywhere, but especially how your photography business got started, how it covered the bills while Jason went to law school. That's impressive. How just starting out, you were able to make enough money to feed you guys. So tell us about all that.
So all I ever wanted when I was growing up was a sister. I had 2 older brothers, and my parents finally made it happen when I was 17 and 18 years old. We adopted 2 little girls from China. So we have a huge age gap, obviously, but it was the coolest relationship because I am a cool sister, but I'm also kind of a motherly role too, since I'm so much older. But because of that adoption, my heart was just pulled towards international mission work and international adoption and photography, because just photographing them growing up, photographing my times in China and everything like that. So I decided to go on to Baylor University, major in photography. Never, ever expected to own a business. I was like just so artsy. I was like, I'm just gonna travel the world and take pictures, like so naive and so young. And I did do that for many years, and from China to Africa to all over Europe, just kind of helping different mission groups and promoting them and creating videos and photos for them. And I loved it, but it did not pay the bills. Nonprofit work is hard. So I decided I did need to create a business back here in the States, and really mainly to fund myself being able to do these types of work. But then out of creating that, it just developed this huge passion in me for business in itself. And now I'm more passionate about business than I am even photography. I just fall in love with every part of it. And so then I got married shortly after college, and my husband was playing for the Jets for a short time before he got injured. And so he left the morning after we got married. And so I was back in Dallas trying to figure out, am I going to really start my business, or are we going to move to New York? It's just an awkward time in the NFL. And so he got injured. It was career ending. And so he went to law school down in Houston. And that's when we really had to make a decision of, we didn't want to take out loans when we were newly married, like we'd only been married a couple months at this point, we didn't want to take out loans for school, and like we wanted to graduate debt free no matter what. But he couldn't work in law school, and I was like, didn't know a single person in Houston. And so I was going to take this tiny little business I'd only had for a couple months and try to take it to Houston.
Okay.
And all of a sudden make all the money for law school, make all the money for our bills, how in the world? And my husband, he sometimes has too much blind faith, I think, in me.
Right.
I was like, oh, you can do it. You got it.
Right.
Okay. And I think that determination of knowing, okay, if I have a goal in mind, like there's nothing just my personality type, like no matter what, it's going to happen. I'm going to figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
And just having that determination to make that happen. And we did. And so that first semester, obviously there was zero income. So we did have to take out loans for that, like that first year.
Sure.
But by the time he graduated, it was 100% paid off.
Oh my gosh.
Everything, which was just such a blessing. And, but so just finding that. And so I really discovered business and walked through that whole route, kind of trial and error in the beginning. And then that eventually then he started working for the Texans and now the Chiefs, and kind of bounced around and had kids, and then it started photography. While I still loved it, business was really where my passion was. And so I wanted to find a way to take that photography side and just turn it into a bigger business instead of every day be doing sessions, because after, I've been doing 11 years now, it can wear on you, especially as a creative. Like we just always want to feel challenged and just don't want to be doing the exact same thing every day for the rest of my life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I totally get that. So take us back to Houston. Like, how did you even get started because I want to talk about multiple income streams, but this is fascinating to me too, that you went to a new area and it's cool that your husband didn't put pressure on you. He was supporting you guys, and we could dig into that topic too, of how important it is to have a spouse who is behind you and supporting you. But talk your first few, what was your action items to get your business started? Like, how'd you get your first client?
Yeah. So at that time I was shooting weddings. The first 5 years of my business, I was primarily weddings. And so I did, which is funny looking back, because now just my brand, I typically would never do like a wedding show.
Sure.
But you have to get started however. So I actually did a bridal show in Houston.
Okay.
They're huge ones, which I was never really doing it for the clients because I knew my pricing. I priced myself to profit long term. So I knew up front, like I was going to charge a more premium price.
Yep.
And typically, this is just generalization, big time, but wedding, the clientele that goes to bridal shows typically aren't the highest in market, what I was marketing. So I really went into it thinking, okay, every other vendor in the wedding world of Houston is going to be at this show.
Yeah.
And some of the biggest referrals you get in the wedding industry is back and forth across vendors. And so I really went and developed relationships.
Ooh, that's big.
Because of those relationships.
Guys, that term relationships, we talk about that a lot on this show. Okay, keep going. I just wanted to point that out. That's
everything.
Huge.
Yes. And so that's what did it. From there, I just, fostered those relationships and continued on with those and just started getting referrals just right away. And that's just, it just took off from there. And I just made sure each client, and still to this day, but each client, especially brides, I was giving them a client experience that like they had no choice but to talk about and share to their friends and just expanding it. And so it really took off really fast.
That's awesome. You needed it too.
Yeah, we didn't have a choice. So it worked out really well, thankfully.
Guys, there's so much here we can unpack, like even her pricing. I think maybe I heard you talk on Instagram about people are asking you that question, and maybe we'll dig into it. But essentially you said that you wanted to price it at a profit. Some people think, oh, I'm just getting started, I'll do 10 of them for free. And yeah, you can do that. But golly, you set yourself up as the premium person from the get-go.
Yes.
And especially for weddings. If a father wants to have her daughter have the best wedding, they're not going to go with the cheapo photographer. Yeah. They're going to find, if you set yourself up at a premium, they're going to think, well, she is better than these other people because she's charging more. And it may not always be the case. Guys, I can honestly tell you, she's an amazing photographer, does a great job. But she set herself up at a premium. She knew her market, what she wanted to go after, and priced it for a profit right from the beginning. So that's awesome.
Oh,
Really
thank
awesome. Guys, in this next segment, we're going to get into the multiple streams of income. So yes, you're a photographer, but how do you get into the blogging and doing Instagram and all that? This really fascinates me, and this will be valuable for all of you guys who are working something that in order to make more money, you have to work more hours, and that's multiple streams of income is the key for that. And Katie is the master of this and does it beautifully in her job, not job, it's her business. So we'll go to that here in just a second. Guys, you're listening to Streams of Income. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Remember, you can get my book for free at streamsofincomeradio.com. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we're back with Katie Lamb. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger, with Streams of Income Radio. We're talking about photography and how she got started with that business, how it paid her all their bills for her husband to go to law school in a brand new city in Houston. She's from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, now lives in Kansas City. But guys, what fascinates me, and the reason that I wanted to have her on here, is because she has taken her passion and her skill of photography and turn it into multiple streams of income. So like I said in the previous segment, if you are somebody that is doing something that you're making money by, you're trading hours for dollars, in order to make more money, you have to work more hours, then you need to be listening to this, because especially these next couple segments, because we're going to dig into how she took that passion and love of photography and turn it into more than just doing wedding photography, doing couples photography, and booking lots of sessions. So Katie, let's talk about that. What was your first, so you were a photographer, you were in Houston. What was your first entrance into adding another stream of income? What'd that look like?
So it was after we moved back so we were in Houston for a while, moved back to Dallas for a couple of years before ending up in Kansas City. And it was right after my kids were born. And I realized that leaving the house day after day for sessions, coming home, like it just wasn't sustainable for me and for our family goals and priorities. And so I was trying to work through ways to expand that and change that and add on to that. And I remember I was going through that when we met for your first session, and you were talking about it, and like it just triggered something like to really get me pushing to explore. Good. So I'm so thankful for
That's awesome.
I feel like so much of what I do now is because of the talk we had when we first
thank
met.
you.
So I actually started out going into more blogging, and that term influencer and blogging now can have such different connotations for everybody, I think. And so I really wanted it to be, basically I had worked so hard to get where I was, and I felt like there's just like everybody, you're an expert at something. You have something to offer no matter what.
Absolutely.
And so I felt like that was me for photography. But then I also found, like on Instagram, once you were allowed to start messaging people, when that came around, and doing like stories when you could video, I started getting a lot of questions about stuff. And so I was like, okay, so I started writing down the questions I'd get the most.
Oh, that's brilliant. Guys, listen to that. She said something super key. If you have an audience of people, listen to them. They will tell you exactly what they need. Exactly. Okay, keep going.
Exactly. So I was like, how can I serve them? What are they wanting the most of? And so I wasn't doing courses yet. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to start this blog and start writing content that they want to hear about. I had a wide variety because I did try to build my business around my name and around me rather than just photography. So even though that was primarily what I did, my business name was Katie Lamb. And I wanted that to stand for much more than just photography. And I knew that long term. So I did work on that with my marketing and then my Instagram and Facebook and everything like that. And so when I started going into the blogging world, it wasn't like, whoa, what is she doing? It did kind of come more naturally. And so whenever I started that, it was like I did have a lot of twin moms following me because I was a twin mom. I try to think outside of just photography. And so I created a blog and would give tips or suggestions for things. And then that eventually turned into brand partnerships.
Wow. Okay. Real quick. Did you start the blogging and the Instagram stories intentionally so that, I'm thinking was it a way to make money you probably didn't make money from the beginning at that though, right? How did you so most people start blogs. A lot of times they're doing it as a hobby. And they don't know that they can monetize it, or it just takes a long time to monetize it. So that was your first, so brand partnerships was your first way to make money through the blog?
Yes. So direct money. Yes. So I originally started because I knew, I'm just trying to think of any business you have, if you show that you're the expert in that field, that only helps your business too. So even
Absolutely.
though I'm giving free information on my blog, like if I'm giving photography tips or if I'm giving what to wear for your session or anything like that, I become the expert. And so people are willing to pay more of a premium price because I'm
Absolutely.
as an expert. So I think one thing
Yes.
people struggle with, like, I don't want to give away too much information for free or any information for free. And it's like, I think it's better to do that.
Absolutely.
It really shows that what you have to offer, it really stands. And so,
My gosh.
so I originally was doing it for that, and which just helped my business as a whole.
Yeah.
And
Helps
then,
your photography business. You book
yeah,
more sessions because of the blog and the Instagram stories, which is how we found you. Melaine saw you on Instagram stories and started following you. I remember that first time I met, I felt like I said, I hear your voice in our house all the time because she's always playing your videos. So guys, it works. We are a perfect example of the fact that she was serving her audience. And when we needed photography done, she was top of mind for us. And yeah, we could have gone to somebody else easily. We could have Googled South Lake, Texas photographers and found somebody else. And probably, the other people do great jobs, but it was because Melaine saw you, knew you, liked you. We didn't know you, but started to know you through your stories and your blog. So we started to like you, trust you. And like when we were ready to spend money on it, well, you were the obvious choice.
Exactly. That's so good. It's so good to hear that it does work. There's proof of that. And I think one thing that's kind of popular right now hearing is that people, especially in our day and age, people want to do business with people, not with businesses.
Oh, so true.
And so really establishing that the people behind your business, whether that there's 5 of you that work in it or, it's just you, but really establishing that behind it, I think helps tremendously.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that. And then once I started doing that, I was able to apply to like their affiliate program. So basically when I would recommend a product, I could put an affiliate link behind it, and there I'm making a cut of anything that sells that people are buying. And I can pretty much create an affiliate link for everything. And so that is a small, little stream of income right there. And then brand partnerships are a lot bigger for that. And that's, I either reach out to brands directly, they reach out to me directly. There's like an agency that works on my behalf as well.
Cool.
Very cool. Ones. And so I then started getting into home renovations as well. And so that I would partner, like you can partner with Home Depot and things like that and start working on your home. And not only are you getting the products comped, you're also getting paid.
That's awesome.
You're getting paid to do your hobby, to do something that you love. And so that works across anything. Like if, like you were mentioning a baker, like you could totally partner with various brands in the baking industry. I mean, anything. And so it's just that's a cool day and age that we live in, that we are able to do things like this to truly take our passions and just turn them into income.
That is awesome, guys. She talked about affiliate marketing, and some of you may be aware of that. Those of you that listen to the podcast probably are. Those of you that listen on the radio may not be so much. And this affiliate marketing essentially is Amazon's a big one that you can recommend. I mean, there's all kinds of companies that have affiliate programs set up where you can essentially promote their products and tell your audience about those products. And when they sell, they're using you're using your unique link that you're giving to them. And so if I would go on and use Katie's link and buy, that hammer that she just used to build her playhouse, then she's going to get a small percentage of that sale. And so think about, if 50 people bought hammers and they bought nails and they bought the actual playhouse, it can be some serious income on the affiliate side. But then she also talked about brand sponsorships, which are usually bigger deals. Well, they'll pay you to post or pay you to do an Instagram story, or even sometimes it's if you're just getting started out, they may even just give you free product. So either way you win. That is so cool. So brand sponsorships and affiliate marketing were your first entrance into the other streams of income besides sessions, right?
Yes. And that's when it really started branching me out.
Yeah.
Besides just photography and locking me into that box. And because it was at first, it was like, okay, how do I balance the photography side of what I do in sessions with all this other stuff? And I just try to really weave it all in together. And it was neat because I was using my photography for brand partnerships. That's why I had a really small, not even like I have a huge following now, but back when I started, I only had a couple thousand followers on Instagram. And And I hate to ever like place value on that, but in the business world and the partnership world, there is value in
Yeah,
that.
it
So,
does speak. Yeah.
but my photography, so think of whatever skill you have, like that you can offer to set yourself apart. When I would pitch brands, even though I didn't have, 500,000 followers that other people were pitching them,
Mm-hmm.
I have professional quality photography that you're going to receive as
Oh,
a
that's huge.
too. And then they can use that to promote on their own to their bigger audience. So I
Mm-hmm.
always say, like, whenever I teach about this, it's you have something that you can offer that somebody else can't. So even if you think, well, I don't have that much of an influence, or I don't have this huge business or anything like that, like there is something you have. You just have to figure out what's unique to you.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Guys, in this segment, this is to wrap this up, or to wrap, just to sum up this segment. She was listening to her audience. She built relationships with, in the world of photography, she built relationships with other vendors. It opened her up to referrals. She listened to her audience, and then she just started serving those folks in her audience. Totally free content that then propelled her as the expert. So when I tell people to write a book, that's the big reason why. You're not going to make thousands and thousands. You can make a lot of money on your book, but your book is your business card. And so then the same way she was providing free content on her Instagram and on her blog that helped build up her photography business as well. So guys, this is Ryan Rieger with Streams of Income Radio. We'll be back with Katie Lamb in our next segment. Guys, welcome back to Streams of Income Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Remember, you can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com. I'm excited to be chatting with my wife and I's favorite photographer, our friend, Katie Lamb. She built a photography business, but the reason I'm really excited to have her on is because she's taking that love and that passion for photography and turned that into multiple streams of income besides just shooting photos, besides just taking photos of people. And it's brilliant. And anybody who has a business where you are to make more money, you have to work more hours or do more work, you need to listen to this, because she's the model for this. So, okay, we talked about brand sponsorships. We talked about affiliate marketing. Guys, by the way, anybody can do affiliate marketing. You can get an Amazon Associates account. It's actually, they call it affiliate now, but affiliate.amazon.com, I think you can sign up for that. And you can, if somebody comes in your house and they see something that you bought on Amazon, you can say, here, buy it. Here's the link. And you can get paid for that. It's not a huge amount, but it adds up. And what's cool about it too, is that if I would buy something off Amazon using Katie's link, and I buy that exact thing, but then a little bit later today, I buy a TV or computer, she's going to get a percentage of that too. I don't remember how long they call it a cookie. You might know how long it lasts.
Always changing, I feel
it
like.
Is. I thought it might be 24 hours. It used to be 30 days, I think. But essentially anything I buy during that day, she could get a commission for, even if it's not the thing that she promoted. So income, guys, there's money everywhere. There's $100 bills flying around in the wind. You just got to know what to pick up and what to leave alone, because you need to stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. So the way I think when Melaine found you on Instagram, but she also bought your course on how to use the iPhone to take better pictures, because pretty soon after, we had our son, April 2017, and Melaine wanted to take good pictures of him. So she, obviously you were the choice because we'd already been following you. Talk about that. How did you even create a course? How did you decide to do it about that topic?
Absolutely. So whenever I had my kids, I started another Instagram account, which was kind of private, but a lot of people would start following it. I just always kind of screen them just for, safety reasons, but all the pictures on that account were always taken with my iPhone. And so I was always getting questions about how is this an iPhone picture? Like, how are you doing that? And so I was like, ding, ding, ding. I want to create my first course over this. And so that was the very first course I ever created. And it was really, like I said, just listening to my audience and what they want. And that was a question I was getting all the time. And so I created that course, but also knowing there would be a lifespan to that course, because the iPhone is always changing.
Right.
And so I created that one and saw how well it did and how the great of a response I got. And I loved creating it. I do videography as well. So it was, I don't have to hire a crew. I do it all on my own. And so I really enjoy doing that. And it also made me realize, hey, I don't have to leave my house 4 days a week to shoot sessions, I
Right.
just made the income I would have made in a week
That's
overnight when I
awesome.
was sleeping. So
Right.
that was like the biggest like
Mm.
Kickstarter, like, hello, this is what I need to be doing. I can
Yep.
sleep and be making money. And so,
Right. We call those Swiss dollars. Those are sales while I sleep soundly.
oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I've never
Swiss,
heard that. I
Swiss
like that.
dollars around here.
So that became really important to me in my business, especially having little kids.
Mhm.
And just this season of life, I want to be home with them
Yep.
all the time. And I just want to cherish that and not be working all the time. And so it is
Mm.
a lot more work up front, obviously, to
Mhm.
create those courses. But then once
Yeah.
you do, they can kind of run themselves, which is really nice. So that once I had that, then I just put it out there. Hey, what else do you
Yep.
guys want to know? What else can I create a course about? And
Mm.
I mean, I have a list of like 50 topics right now. For like
Oh my
over the
gosh.
next like 8 years, I'll be creating these courses. And so
That's awesome.
just started really doing that. And then
Mhm.
that became, I know one of the things that comes along with that is,
Mhm.
but you're teaching your competition how to do everything you do.
Right. Right.
And especially in the photography, I mean, any world, but I know in the photography world, it was always like, but are you not worried? Are you, about like your photography side?
Mhm.
And there's a few things to that. And so one, it just further shows that I'm the expert in the field.
Yep.
So even though, for example, I released my presets, which if you're not familiar, a preset is basically how you edit the photo, how I get the style and the look to my photo, which there's a ton more that goes into it from the shooting side. So even if someone has the preset, doesn't mean they can get the exact same look, but it can get similar. So I started selling that. And so that became, well, aren't you worried about everybody looking just
Mhm.
like your work? And well, no, I'm not, because one, I've established my business to
Yep.
where it is now. Two, just show, I mean, for a client that doesn't really know photography, she sees I'm offering these courses, that a lot of photographers are coming to this photographer. She obviously knows what she's doing.
Yep.
That, and there's still like, it's still me, it's still my service I'm giving. So it's not just the end product, it's the service. It's
Mm.
the business itself is different. So that
Yeah.
part is different. And then also for me, a big part was, well, I'm kind of stepping back from photography. I mean, I still do it, but not to the
Mhm.
extent I did. And so there's
Right.
plenty of, I feel like there's way more clients than I would ever need out there,
Oh
because
gosh.
I
Yes.
only need 20 a year, as opposed to,
Right.
there's plenty of clients for everybody. So
Yep.
for me, it was never a worry about,
Yeah.
it really just helped my business, propelled it forward rather
Oh,
than hindering it.
totally agree. It's like you scaled your business internationally.
Yeah.
So, for example, guys, think about, okay, she lives in Kansas City now, and let's say that there's a photographer in Tallahassee, Florida, for example, or people in Tallahassee, Florida, that would love for her to come there and shoot sessions. Well, she could do that, but with 2 kids at home and her husband who is like crazy busy during football season, she'd have to be making she'd have to be charging a ton of money to make that kind of trip worth it. She's just not going to do that. And she'd have people all over the country that would love for her to come to their town and do sessions. But again, she only has so much time. So this is a way for her to essentially scale the photography business by teaching other people how to do it. And she's able to get that income stream from other photographers. It's brilliant. We have a friend who, her name is Nancy Alexander. I've talked about her on this episode, on this podcast and radio show. She makes wreaths, and she was selling them one by one on eBay. Of course, guys, you can only scale that so much. You can only make so many wreaths. And so she started teaching people exactly how she did it. And again, people are saying, you're crazy, Nancy. Why would you do that? Why would you tell people how you did it? Guys, it exploded her business. Now she has a team. She has people that will come to her house, and they pay big time money to go to her studio at her house. And she puts on a whole day session, and they just hang out with her and make wreaths, and she teaches them stuff. And that's kind of like your master classes, right? Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. What's your master class like?
What do you mean for
Like
that?
you have, like, I think you, maybe I'm not using the word right, where you train other photographers, not just the presets. There's like, I
Oh, the
think it's almost
mentor.
like a mastermind type thing.
Yes, so I also offer mentor sessions where it's in person. And so I
Yes.
have like 3 different ones. And so same kind of thing, they come to me. So most of them come, because I didn't, when we've only been in Kansas City limited time now. So, and I never just marketed just to Kansas City, because
Right.
we're in the whole world, so we could move at any
Yeah.
time. So most of my clients are photographers from around the country that will fly in for that. And so They come in, I teach them one-on-one. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're paying a much more premium price
Yeah.
rather than just buying the course, obviously, because it's a one-on-one experience. But that is
Mm.
something I offer as well.
Guys, that's a whole other stream of income right there. So
Yeah.
one-on-one, it's almost like one-on-one coaching. She's got the courses. Brilliant. And now think of all those other courses that you could do. So I don't want you guys to look at her courses and think that those of you who want to create courses have to do it exactly like hers. I mean, she is super top-notch and professional, and they look really good. None of my courses look anything like that. They're not even close to the quality as far as the videography, because I'm not a videographer. But guys, don't let that stop you to think they have to be super professional. Katie, I was at a speaking conference in Atlanta last weekend and talking to folks who have a passion for certain things that they want to get in and do more speaking on. So I was telling them, you have that message. There are other ways to monetize that message, and one of them is courses. And so I gave them the tip, and maybe this will help you too, is to think about is that don't think that you have to create the course and spend hours and hours and hours on it and then hope that people buy it. Now, the fact that you already have a list and you already have an audience, you know what people want, you can do that. You can set aside 10 hours and create a course and know it's going to sell. But for somebody who is just getting started out and they're thinking, I'm a photographer, what topic? I'll just pick this one. You don't have to do that, guys. You can seriously just do like some live webinars. You can take that live webinar and that becomes the content that's put into the course. So you can do a 2-hour-long webinar and have it edited down into these smaller videos, which is the way courses are now. They're usually 10-minute or less videos. So don't think that you have to just spend all this time, effort to put out this beautiful course and then hope that people buy it. You can test it with an audience and just say, guys, I want to do a free webinar. So, if I was a photographer and I had something I thought Katie's audience could benefit from, I might offer to do a free webinar for her audience, test the waters. Wow, we had 500 people on that. They're asking lots of questions. And then we have the confidence that, okay, now we can take that content and create a course out of it because that market is there. People love that topic. So
Absolutely.
She's learning from her audience. She's listening to them. She's got a list of items, and that's the way to do it. Just listen to your folks. They will tell you exactly what they need, won't they?
Exactly. Yes, that's the biggest thing.
Yep, guys, we got one more segment with Katie. I'm excited to dig into this. This is Streams of Income Radio. We will be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income Radio Show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. You can get my book, Streams of Income, at streamsofincomeradio.com. We're chatting with my friend Katie Lamb, Melaine and I's favorite photographer. We talked about how she's taken her passion and love of photography and turned it into multiple streams of income. Affiliate marketing, brand sponsorships, courses. She sells her presets for photography. She does one-on-one coaching. Guys, any of you can do that. You are all an expert of something that people would pay you money for. And so what is that? What is that one thing? When people come to you and ask you questions, what are they asking you about? I guarantee you are an expert at something that you can monetize. And don't think about, oh, I'm making money on them. You are serving people when you do that. So we found Katie through Instagram. My wife follows all these folks on Instagram, mostly ladies, fashion bloggers, and photographers. And obviously you were local. And so it made sense when we were ready to do sessions that she picked you. But what fascinates me, Katie, is that when you're doing Instagram stories, guys, Instagram stories are videos where she'll just share her life, share what's going on that day with her kids. Somebody will see something in the background at their house and say, hey, where'd you get that? Talk about how, that might even be, you're not planning on showing that thing, or how that's turned into other streams of income for you.
Yes. So that's become just so huge, because now I feel like the regular consumer, kind of like we talked about, people want to do business with people and not necessarily businesses. They want to see it in real life, and that's the way they do it. You just think about, I'm not a fashion blogger by any means, but you think about these fashion bloggers out there. I mean, these girls are bringing in millions. They're geniuses, because they're showing the product in real life.
Yep.
And so that carries much more weight than someone seeing it on the TV or seeing it on the website, on the listing for whatever product that is. And so that carries a ton of weight. And then also just seeing, that when you build, the whole thing is building trust.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have that trust, then nothing's ever going to sell. Because for me, I always just think of I don't have, I have like 16,000 followers, which is nothing compared to, a lot of these bigger bloggers. So, but we did a recent huge thing that we were selling where everybody put in their stuff together and it was like one big bundle. And so there were people on there that were selling it or were promoting it with 5 times as many followers as I was. However, me with my much, much smaller account, I was the highest seller on there. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn or anything, but to just say, I have worked so hard to build a loyal audience that trusts me 100%, so that whenever I am ready to sell something, they're ready to buy it because they trust me. I never promote something, talk about something I don't truly believe in. And I always work, my whole method is the serve, sell method, where I'm serving them, 5 times before I ever try to push anything to sell anything. And I'm very intentional about that, the way I schedule my Instagram and everything like that. I'm trying to serve many, many times before I ever try to sell anything. But so I say that to say that, like, you don't have to have, like, don't chase the numbers of how many followers you have on Instagram, how many, even how many, like, necessarily how many clients you have, like, build a trustworthy, like, your following, your, I hate saying tribe because I hate that word, but you know what I mean? These people that really trust you and whatever job you do, and that itself will sell itself.
Man, guys, that's so, she just dropped so many value bombs there. The serve, sell. There's 5 there. And so she's selling 20% of the time, serving, or she's giving out free content 80% of the time, 20% of the time she's essentially promoting products. But I would even argue, Katie, that you're serving them when you're providing them opportunities to do business with you too, because I mean, it's just, you're right. You're never out there promoting something that you don't personally use. We're not going to name the company, but you even went on and talked about a company that you're no longer going to do business with after doing some research. And guys, she's real. She's honest. It's like literally you're just hanging out in her living room and she's just talking to you about her life. But you have built that trust with people. And guys, I'm telling you, people do business with folks that they know, they like, and they trust. And you've probably never met, I mean, you said 16,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, maybe you've met 500 of those. I don't know. So the other 15,500 people are folks that have come to know you through your stories you just share in your life. And they're eager to do business with you because they trust you. And so that's awesome. Man, we could go so deep in all these topics, but I want to talk about, in business or in life, people who want to start a business think they don't have enough time. And I want to destroy that excuse. And you are the perfect picture of somebody who could easily say, I don't have time to do this. My husband works for the Kansas City Chiefs during football season. He's not home a lot, especially when you were here in Texas and he was in Kansas City and he was gone for months for a while. That would be so hard, but you still made your business work. So how do you do it all? Like the other night, you guys were doing renovations after the kids went to bed. Like, I don't even understand how you guys have all that energy. Obviously younger than Melaine and I are. So that has a part, but destroy that excuse with people. Just talk to the person who doesn't think they have enough time to build a business on the side.
I think you have to have the determination and the end goal in mind. And I think that's always in my mind, however small or big, if we're talking, 5-year goals or we're talking a 30-minute goal,
right.
Always keeping that end goal. And I always know, well, I've got to get to that somehow. And so I have I'm home full time with my kids. And I don't want to be working. I mean, there are times I have to work when they're awake. It's just the way it is. But for the most part, I don't want them to remember their childhood as my mom was always on her computer.
Always on our computer, right?
Yeah. And so I don't want that. And so I am very, very intentional with my time and knowing that this is a season. And yes, there are days I'm exhausted. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not. But it is a season. They're 2 years, they're going to be away at kindergarten. I'll have all the time in the world. Yeah. And so just knowing there's hard seasons of your business, and then there's easier seasons. And for example, like, that's why course creations and expanding your business is so great, because I can be very intentional. For example, when my husband's in off season and home 24/7 for, 5 weeks, that's when I create all these courses and put all of them in. And that way, once he's gone and the the craziness of motherhood on my own is
Mm-hmm.
all there. I'm still generating income, but I'm outside with my kids while it's coming in.
Mm.
I think that's huge, but just really having the determination and then setting strict schedules for yourself and
Mm-hmm.
boundaries for your
Mm-hmm.
work days
Mm-hmm.
is also really big. And then I do believe that personality type does play some role in that as well. I know a lot of people, one of the questions I get all the time is, how are you doing all this all? Do you ever
Yeah.
relax?
Right.
I mean, for me personally, like sitting on the couch doing nothing, that's stressful to me. I could never like, for
Me
me,
too.
like, yes, okay.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are that way. We're given that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it like doing a home renovation project, that's relaxing me. That's my hobby that just kind of turned into a job too. Um, but so my advice would just really be to have your end goal in mind
Yep.
and set strict schedules and boundaries within that business, and just
Mm-hmm.
always make sure you're saying no to things that aren't getting you to your end goal.
That's
Just
good.
don't just fill your calendar, don't just fill your time with
Mm.
things that aren't getting you to where you want to be.
That's good. Guys, she mentioned a lot there too. I'm talking about you have to have a why. You have to have a reason why you're doing that. That's brilliant. You also said in the break, you got to treat it like a business. So how do you take that? We only got about a minute and a half left. How do you go from hobby to business person?
So I would say the biggest thing is making sure, well, like we said, you're a business owner first, you're a blank second, you're a plumber
Yeah.
second, you're a cookie
Yeah.
maker second, whatever that is, and treating it from the marketing to the accounting to everything. If you're doing it all, that comes first, and
Yeah.
everything else will fall in line. You could be a really poor photographer or whatever you are. You could be an amazing business person, and you're
Right.
going to succeed likely more than the amazing photographer
That's
that's
true.
a bad business person, because that goes above everything. So set good workflows for yourself and make sure you're doing everything correctly and not
Absolutely.
trying to cut corners.
That's so good. How can people find you? Like whether they just want to be find you for mini sessions, because guys, she comes into the Dallas Fort Worth area a couple times a year and book sessions. So tell people how they can find those. And if they're a photographer and they want to learn from you, how do they find you?
So my photography website is katielamb.com. That's KATIELAMB, like the animal. And then my blog is just blog.katielamb.com. And that's where my shop is with all my courses. And then I'm on Instagram at KatieBethLamb.
And guys, I'll have all the links on the show notes. If you go to streamsofincomeradio.com, you'll be able to get access to those links. I'll put the show notes there. Guys, also remember you can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com. Katie, thank you so much for being on with me. This is so fun.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I really appreciate it.